Hey everyone, welcome to part 2 of the Trial of Ascension hard mode building guide for your team building. This is actually the first part. We did a manual team that can take you pretty far. It won't take you all the way through 100 since you will need sustainability for some of the boss stages, but it will take you probably high enough to at least claim that Devilmon, which is super important, obviously depending on the monster and the boss. For the manual team, just one quick note, when you come across stages like Veramos, that's actually easy, super convenient to actually use this type of manualing team. Now the thing is, Beretta is going to have to solely focus on making sure the boss doesn't move, and you're going to need someone that can provoke. You're going to either need Mav or Basalt, because if you can't provoke him, then that boss is going to move. He's going to do whatever he wants, and he's going to wipe the floor with you. Now, you cannot use any other substitutes. I don't believe any other substitutes would work because these types of kits like Mav and Basalt bring so much more than just the Provoke. The Provoke is just a bonus that is kind of necessary. So the next type of team is actually what I use. I don't use this manualing team. It's what I used to use. Is actually autoing team. Yes, autoing. You can auto Trial of Ascension hard mode. It's actually what I do for probably about 90 to 95 out of the 100 stages. I basically auto almost every single stage. The only stages I don't auto are usually things like full immunity with like Fedora and Fuko where they can slow you down and keep putting immunity since you can't put dots and I don't have a buff removal on this team. So it's kind of a little bit of a rough patch there. It's also quite hard to auto boss stages because if you don't provoke the boss or if you at least don't target the boss and it's like a fire attribute, Mav won't target with provoke on the boss, which can cause a little bit of a problem, right? So like Chiwu stage, that would be a huge problem. So that's kind of like the weak spot of this team. Now, I'm going to show you the team that I use. I can show you some substitutes for it, and I'll show you some kind of workarounds. Now, of course, it's kind of hard to work around with this because this mainly relies on the fact that you can put down enough debuffs and have enough stats to last. So the whole basic idea of this is you're going to want someone to do dots, of course. You're going to want a good leader skill, either Beretta leader skill, or you can even have an HP leader skill from like Veramos. You're going to have a good healer. You need a good healer. Okay, so Chisoon, this is kind of a must right here, okay? This is not a farmable guide. You do need a good healer. Chisoon, Ariel, and possibly even a very fast, violent Emma could do it, but the problem is Emma uses her third skill heal as a buff, so you might not have the heal ready when you need it. So you just gotta be careful about that. But you definitely need a strong healer that can heal very fast, very often. Bella Dion probably will not cut it. So if you have Chisoon, you're in luck. If you've got Ariel, you're in luck. Anyone else, and it's kind of pushing it a little bit. The next thing you're going to need is some form of damage mitigation. I bring Briand personally. I know I do have Iona, but the problem with Iona is she doesn't bring anything other than her revive. You know, she brings her heal. It's two units, but it's the revive is quite good, right? The problem with her is her revive is not as strong as Briand in these types of scenarios. So if you got Briand, another really great addition to the team. I think Briand is actually the only thing that can really take this slot. I think Eladriel can take it temporarily. The problem with Eladriel in this sense is that he doesn't bring damage mitigation. So you'll need something else like a defense buff or someone else to do AoE attack break. So what I mean by damage mitigation is decreasing the attack power of the entire enemy team or buffing with defense buff on your entire team. So stuff like Basalt or Emma can actually help you do damage mitigation. Or even Olivia, the Wind Neostone agent, she can actually do some of that damage mitigation since she does bring glancing hit. She does do her little resurge ability and she does bring her defense buff. So I personally like the attack power decrease mostly because I absolutely love this because it adds CC capability with despair runes. Now you notice I don't really have the greatest of runes. I don't even max these runes, and that's just because I've never had a problem autoing. Most of the stages that I fail on, it's not because of the HP problem. It's actually because there's a lot of buffs on the enemy that they can put, or they put on a lot of debuffs. So you got to be careful with that. If you have immunity, if you could bring some type of immunity that could do it. I don't know any monster that could bring immunity on this type of team and deal CCs type stuff. That's just kind of, I just don't think it could happen. One workaround, maybe. I've never tried it. I wouldn't know. One workaround could actually be, where is she? I gotta find her first. Right here, my Keen. And the reason is she attacks all enemies with the burst, or I'm not going to read it, but she attacks all enemies, so it's an AoE attack, and she puts on Glancing Hit. Now, Glancing Hit can actually be considered damage mitigation because it decreases the damage incoming from the team, and she does bring a fairly decent revive, right? She can also have high crit rate, so you can freeze enemy targets, which is also very, very incredible. If you put her on like Violent Runes, you could definitely do a lot of work with this. So my Keen, if you guys don't have Brienne, can actually do this. So if you're looking to kind of build farmable team or anything like that in Trial of Ascension hard mode, haven't had luck with Brienne, you could do this, but only do this if you have nothing else to improve on, because Trial of Ascension hard mode, as fun as it is, I mean that's in a sarcastic sense, you shouldn't work on Trial of Ascension hard mode until you've got your arena well established and your guild wars well established. So if we pop this into something like this type of, we did that last time, so we'll do, 90 stages are definitely harder, but if we could do something like 74, I'll show you really quick. Damage mitigation, some form of healer like Chasoon. You don't have to use Verad. You don't need Verad. Verad could actually be replaced with Veramos. A lot of people misconceive that when I say, oh yeah, look at this is my auto team, and they're like, well, I don't have Verad. Well, the thing is, Verad is not necessary here. You could put it in with Poseidon, Hathor, or even like probably not Jamire. You could do it with Veramos, which is farmable. He's fusible. You can do it with Veramos because he has a 3-turn heal again. But you're going to need to be faster, really, really fast. You're going to have Brienne very fast. You're going to need to have Chisoon very fast, and even Beretta very fast if you're going to run Veramos, because you need to make up for that. I make up for that by resetting the attack bars, but that's just because I'm lazy on the runes on my ToA hard team. And that's basically it. So watch, I'll go ahead and show you guys. We can throw this in here, and all you have to do is just hit auto, and it now of course on some stages it's not 100%, but for the most part it is 100%. So I just throw on some dots, put on some damage mitigation, some CC, and then you have Mav there to basically make sure your units have the attack speed increase and are using them as fast as possible. And then of course the extra glancing hit from Chasoon is actually really nice. Now just look at all of the freeze effects, kind of picture that as stuns from Veramos, because that's basically what it's going to look like when you have Veramos. In some respects, Veramos actually might be better on some stages because he brings dots on his first skill and cleanse. So if there's stuff that put on debuffs like heal block or even defense break, Veramos will actually remove that. So Veramos can actually be quite lethal. I actually use Veramos in some stages like the Artamiel stage. So don't think that I only use Verad. I actually use Veramos in quite a lot of scenarios. And Mav there is kind of a little bit important. Mav is actually really important to a lot of these teams because he increases the attack speed and he reduces cooldown times and he provokes and he stuns. So you'll see here that it's just absolutely going crazy, full auto. It's quite fast since you're not really doing anything. And you can just sit back, maybe, grab a drink and not even watch it. Some stages, though, you have to be very careful. The very, very hard stages with these auto teams are things that can basically work through the passive. A chroma stage, you're going to have to bring some other type of thing. I replace Brienne or one of the units with another healer, and then I replace Mav with a dark tank, such as sometimes I use Dia, sometimes I use Jubel. Sometimes I even use Joltan for the Acroma stages, which are a huge part in it because a lot of people get stuck there. Sometimes I will use for like Kume stages where they increase their attack bar really, really fast, or even Joltan stages where he reflects like 20,000 damage every time you crit on him. I cannot use Verad because Verad always crits. You'll notice here he's crit like 3 or 4 times already. Same with Briand. So I can't really bring him on those stages because it's a lot of crit rate. So for those stages, if you had like Thrain or even Hemos, the Water Grim Reaper, that would actually probably be better than Beretta. So you can switch up your team. The team's not going to work on every single stage, but just damage mitigation, CC, a good healer, and then even like Beretta or Thrain or Hemos is actually really, really lethal and really effective in this kind of sense. So if you guys are looking to improve in Trial of Ascension hard mode, these are the 2 teams that I've used in my time through Trial of Ascension hard mode. I don't use anything else other than this auto team now because it's just so convenient. and it just gets through things. It just plows through things. The main weakness, of course, like I've already said, the passive skills that a lot of the units bring, and then of course immunity, because you see on that team right there, in this immunity team, well, not that one, but you'll just see in the team that I'm running, there is no buff removal. So if they run like Veligil Chimeras, like Zeratu and Rakan, where they self-buff, they self-immunize, that is actually a huge problem because I can't do damage to them. They all have like over 100,000 HP, and they're going to keep that immunity on forever. Fedora stages are a huge problem as well. Uh, Stuff like Delphoid doesn't really bother me so much since I end up bringing Vera to just take up or basically soak up all of the reset skills and stuff like that. You could probably bring Mykeen if you had her, or you could probably just use Veramos and let him do it on a random target, but that's kind of risky. So well, I hope you guys enjoyed. Quick videos, but part one, part two. That's basically what I do it. If you guys use different teams, let me know, because these are the only teams I've ever used. You either go super fast, just to make sure you put on CC on everyone, or you just bring a very reliable team to put on CC, damage mitigation, and some form of someone to speed it up. No, you cannot replace Mav. I don't use Vertihill in that place. It's not enough. I don't use Bernard in that place. I only use Mav. And you'll notice here on both these teams, the only consistent ones across both these teams, Mav and Beretta. Beretta is replaceable by Thrain, Hemos, and Zyros even, if you have Zyros. But Mav is pretty irreplaceable. I don't even think he can be replaced by Jemire. So, and he even got nerfed too, and he's still overpowered. So, I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you guys have any comments or suggestions on teams, put in the comment section below. I'll read them, and maybe there will be a part 3. Who knows? So, all right. See you guys later.